Hit me!
Episode 239.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate. Sound the alarm.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts.
Hit me!
Episode 239.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate. Sound the alarm.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I really feel like it should be "I Got You, Babe" playing in the background now. Well, for the third time, folks, welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
I forgot what I was supposed to say now.
Well,
I'm just flabbergasted. It's the third time. I'm saying screw it.
Fine.
Let's just stop and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Because four
do
times.
It live. We'll do it live.
Good point. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
I'm Trent.
You're listening. No, I said, and we're. I don't know. We're here on Smodco Internet Radio.
You can listen to us at smudcast.com.
Thank you. If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many different ways. One of them is Twitter.
Use the hashtag NetHeads. I was gonna do a joke and say use the hashtag POTUS, and then when I originally delivered that joke, I started laughing, and then I was gonna say no, better yet, use FLOTUS, but I didn't say that. So I thought I would sneak it in this time. But if I've learned anything of the past year, I can get away with saying something and not meaning it if I say that's what I would have said, or I could say this, but I'm not going to.
Well, people are saying that's what you said, Trent.
Well, those are just words.
Yes, they are. Man, anyway, hi everybody. For those of you that have no idea what's going on YouTube, but those of us enjoying the show on Twitter are on in straight audio. This is now the third time we've started this because, I'm just going to say growing pains, but as my wife likes to point out, people don't probably care about listening to us and our little.
We're getting old.
You know, it's just that it's all new, right? It's all new,
yeah.
And so one of the things I like to do when we're doing the video version is there's a title screen that says we're coming on live, and then there's the show number, and those I like to be fades because they're pretty. And I really haven't played with much, so I'm sure I could add more like specific scene transitions per scene. We're using Outlook, or pardon me. Open broadcast software, is that the name of it? Yeah, for doing the streaming and the switching. But I really haven't played with it much because, as I said last week, we just kind of threw ourselves into this, all to just preserve a lower third, really.
That's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the things we were just starting to discuss, which I found very interesting, we were talking about the Nintendo Switch. It came out or the pre-order started this past week.
Yeah.
And I noticed the gaming community seemed to have a lot of complaints. I was watching the guys over at Game Over game. Oh gosh, the
eggs over my hammy.
no, that's not it. It's like Game Over Greggy or something. I can't. They were on Smodcast.
Yeah.
And I was watching their live show the morning after. I wasn't watching it. I was watching the video after the fact. I wasn't watching it live. Man, I'm making no sense this morning. Let me just have a sip of water out of my official NetHeads mug, by the way.
Yeah. Available nowhere.
Not at all.
Yet.
No.
Are you feeling better? Do you need a topic? I'll give you something to talk about. Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss.
No, thank you. So, the Switch came out for pre-order, and people were complaining about the pricing on many items. For example, if you wanted to get extra controllers, or you wanted to get different colored controllers, or I don't know what they were, because I don't pay attention to the gaming community. I got an Xbox 360 sitting on the floor there, not being used. So, Trent, have you caught any of this, and what's it all about?
Yeah, and this is correct. The thing that there's a lot of different factors here. Nintendo fans need to understand that they are more purchasing properties than they are gaming device, if that makes sense.
No, not at all. I don't know what you mean.
So Nintendo is very protective of their IP, right? You don't see Mario games available on an Xbox or a PS, right?
Okay, this we've discussed before, so I know where you're coming from.
Right. So in doing that, and this is the problem that the Wii U definitely had, was there aren't a lot of games developed for or cross-platform for the Nintendo, right? It's kind of a quid pro quo thing, and so while you're getting the properties that you love, be it the Pokemon, be it the Mario, the whatevers, you're dealing with a very smaller audience than someone who wants to play a lot of good games who got an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 or is using a PC, right? So your target audience is a lot smaller. They're trying to make it a lot more hip and elite, also, which is going to affect pricing. And to everyone else that's complaining, adjusted for inflation, I just looked this up, the Atari 2600 would have cost $786.49.
That makes perfect sense because I haven't talked. Well, actually, I have talked about this before. It was just a few minutes ago, but I didn't get into the thought. And that was the fact that I myself would not have had probably a 2600 if my brother hadn't already bought one on his own and then decided, he didn't have much use for it. So he sold his system to my mom, and I got that for Christmas. So,
okay.
So like adjusting for inflation, it must have been pretty expensive. So, at the time, it was still my life's blood. The only thing I'll never understand is why my mom either never put together the correlation of, or just simply decided to ignore the fact that every time if I got a new title on Sunday, actually, it didn't matter what day I got the new title. If I got a new game cartridge, amazingly enough, I was sick the next day. Yeah. And unlike your mom, like the TV power cord and everything didn't vanish.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Your mom was like, I've been down this dance before, son. I know what's up.
She's like, nice try, shit brain.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Not happening.
So I just ran some a couple of other quick figures here as well. Kind of looking at the kind of big launches, right? So if big launch of a new gaming system, we talked about the 2600, that was almost $800 adjusted for inflation. Okay, let's look at the NES, right? The thing that made home gaming a thing. Its adjusted inflation price was, relatively low, only $446.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fair enough.
The Dreamcast, only $288, adjusted for inflation. The PlayStation 1, $475, adjusted for inflation. And the original Xbox, $400, adjusted for inflation.
That's the one thing I've been kind of amazed about all the different consoles that have come out. I really would have thought that they would have attempted to focus their money more on the licensing and everything else and get a percentage of the sales over having an expensive entry point that's then followed by an expensive accessory point or title point.
Well, and I think that's everyone's frustration. Additionally, is okay. So you're paying. I haven't looked at the what is the base price is like $300, and that's with like
it's somewhere around there.
One controller, just the basic setup, and then you're paying between $60 and $70 per game, and then you're paying your DLC. And they're big into seasons now. The publishers, so you're paying an additional $50 to get all the DLC per season. So it's like buying a new game every time. Long gone are the days. Well, and then on top of that, the added frustration across the huge gaming community of releasing a quote unquote finished product as beta, and then you're paying full price to essentially be a tester for them. So I get these frustrations. That's like complaining about the price of a Mac.
I guess that's a good point.
I think the parallels are very similar, in that you're buying a brand, you're buying IP, and you're being part of a culture that likes those specific games that they can't get somewhere else. So.
Yep. That's the way it is. What are you going to do?
Well, you're just going to take our money.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
They're going to take every single last penny.
Yeah.
And parents are going to be held hostage.
Yeah, because there's rumor that there's going to be a 2017 or 2018 Sonic game only for the Switch. So yeah, of course I'm going to buy one.
Which I think is still one of the more interesting things, because there was a while where I think truly the dominating game console was the Sega Genesis. And it's, again, the only place you could get Sonic was on that. And then, lo and behold, years later, they're just licensing him out. They're like, you know what?
Yeah. So I think Sega is kind of the exact opposite. Is kind of the cautionary tale, right? Of doing of what Nintendo has done, right? Of going, we're going to be exclusive, blah blah blah. That's all fine and dandy until you shit the bed, and then
and put out the ET game.
Oh yeah, that was not Sega.
No, I know it wasn't, but I'm just saying.
But then at that point you realize that you have to license things out, otherwise you're screwed. But yeah, and Sega has done a very good job of playing those both sides up, giving certain consoles exclusive content, but then retroactively releasing that later on in big bundles of stuff.
Yeah, well, at least there's one way to get it, because those bundle things, that's where I cash in. I've never bought. Totally. I've never bought well, no, it's not true. I bought them used, the Lego Batman games, but but the Star Wars Lego games I bought as a combination. Yeah,
it's out right now. I think it's on sale on both PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. You can get all 6 games for a low price. Like, that's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah,
and at which I did, and I had fun playing it and trying to play it with my daughter. The only thing that she didn't get when we were playing was that as partners, you kind of need to stick together, or people will get stuck at opposite ends of the map.
Yeah. Wait, do they not? Does it not? Because I haven't played the Star Wars games. Does it not pull the person in?
If they fall further enough back, but there are certain side-scrolling parts of the game in a way where where
the map gets so big you can barely even see yourself.
No, you just can't get out or beyond a certain obstacle until that person's in line
until
with
it catches up. Sure.
And during the catch-up thing, there have to be safe restore points that the game uses to bring the character in, and those just didn't exist. And naturally, me being me, I just got all aggro intense. Come on, you got to catch up. I'm trying to. No, it's a. Forgetting completely the point, my child is trying to have fun, and I'm just playing a video game. I'm not getting paid to do it. It's not going to make me any money. Nothing's bad is going to happen if I can't get past this level right now. And I forget it every time I game.
But we got to do it.
Yeah, I know, right? By the way, if you want to take part in the program, like Miranda Janelle on Twitter with the hashtag NetHeads. She says, NetHeads 239, the one where Will talks about playing with his lower third. And my favorite part, she's using the hashtag Bloatus.
Oh, that's a good one. You know what? I'm going to click on Blotus right now.
I don't think you should.
And let's see what comes up. Yep. There. Okay. Yeah, just what you'd expect. Yep.
Yeah, don't do it, folks. Don't.
No.
I haven't looked, but that's why I'm saying don't do it.
Let's talk about this elephant in the nation right now, or excuse me, in the White House.
Okay, you want Look, all right, you want to get okay, first of all,
because he's a Republican, people. Come on.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, you're operating a higher level than I am. Way to go, sir. I congratulate you on that one.
No, I kind of had like this weird epiphany watching the monologue of Friday's Colbert.
Oh, yeah, I watched it. I actually We were supposed to get started a little sooner, but Trent did that thing I've sometimes done where you plug your phone in to charge it. We use it as our alarm clock, and if it's not plugged, you work with one. Look, you work with one end of the plug. It's the one that goes in your phone.
Yeah. I don't care about the other end. I'm focused on the insertion end.
Yes, it's don't we all? But it's because that other part's just supposed to be in the wall. That's where it was the last time you looked. You didn't know that Michael Cera bumped it, or you pulled it a little too hard, or
that I forgot that I unplugged it to plug something else in.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I did. I actually got caught up on a whole slew. I saw Trevor Tino, as he refers to himself, Trevor Noah.
Okay.
But I also saw Colbert's monologue. And by the way, Colbert's ultra long tie was a little disturbing.
A little bit. And the funny part too about his just in as it might become fashionable as our POTUS wore an extremely long tie during the inauguration. He was also wearing a long tie. I noticed that it was actually like a big and tall tie, because you could tie it so it would just be long in the front, but then the back end would be short, but it was long on both sides all the way down. It was just a huge ass tie.
It really was. Okay, so now that we've gotten the tie out of the way,
yes.
Out of the way, though, what is it you want to say, Trent?
Yeah, I had this epiphany of kind of like, you know what? This is good therapy. This is how you deal with stuff, is you laugh at it. And I know that seems oversimplistic, but really though, it was a very cathartic moment for me of being like, okay, yeah, I can, you know what? I can't do anything, really, let's be honest, but I can enjoy this, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be grateful that it's there.
Another good thing that you can do, if you would like, is you could completely avoid the news. That would be a good one.
Which I have done. Like it's, and in that aspect, it's kind of nice.
You're like, I'm just going to catch up on the news through satire.
Through jokes.
Yeah, there you go. Just to laugh at it. Well, no, I don't blame you, because this is a very interesting time. But once again, one of the things I like to put forth, one of the ideas I want to get out there, and I'm not going to do it sitting here, folks. When I tweet about it, when I sit here and talk on the podcast, if you see it on the YouTube video, I'm not accomplishing anything, because this is it's social media. I'm talking to the people that follow me. They're going to be like-minded. Yesterday I did lose one whole follower. Could have been a bot. Doesn't matter. Yeah. My whole point is, unless you're talking about it out in the real world, you're not going to make a difference. And so we've kind of all got to change the dialogue. First of all, we have got to get into a realm of bipartisan civility. Yeah. That doesn't. I think what I read somewhere, my wife read somewhere and conveyed to me that basically experts, whoever they are, people are saying, Trent, to borrow a term.
The drive-by liberal media.
No, but people are saying basically that the country is more divided now than it was during the Vietnam era, for example.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so we really have, and I tweeted about it yesterday. So NetHeads on air, it's down there on the bottom of the screen if you're watching the YouTube video and you want to look at it. But essentially, we need to stop assigning labels. We all need to first remember that at the core, what we are Americans, and.
Well, I mean, yes, we're people. We're human beings.
We are, and by grouping people into by doing that, by putting them into a group and then assigning labels. That's the first problem. So we can't do that. Also, we can't attack people for expressing their beliefs. And also, I think we also need to be very careful about the conversations that we have. And out of everything else over the past 48 hours in the news cycle, by the way, I actually have heard via Twitter from one person who did say that they actually are interested in hearing us talk about politics. I was shocked by that, but, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know, because we're a bunch of morons. So,
Yeah.
well, you and I can say we're morons. I'm not
Yes.
like all netheads are.
Well,
You never know.
correct.
But, you know, the past 48 hours have seen a lot of things. We have seen the inauguration of our 45th president of the United States. We have seen the Women's March on Washington, which instead became, if you look at it, it really became a
smoke.
global thing.
Yeah.
Which was kind of shocking. Not shocking, but surprising to me. I did not realize the reach that it had. They are estimating that this was the largest post-inauguration demonstration that has occurred ever in history.
Yeah.
So, and with that, one funny aside, last time it happened, and the number that it took over was from Nixon, who resigned a year later, but that's neither here nor there. So, but the thing that I got out of this, the thing that terrifies me the most, folks, everything aside, first of all, it was great because with the Women's March, unlike the demonstrations and riots after the president's inauguration in D.C., where we saw flash grenades and property destruction, and basically, and by the way, if you look at the footage, if you see that, a lot of these people that do it, believe it or not, they're professional rebel rousers in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, pardon me, they are practicing rebel rousers.
Yeah. Like it's taking advantage of a situation that can benefit me because people are self-interested.
And they truly are anarchists. That's their goal. They want to go in there and much in the same way that Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly said before their interviews, they're there to fuck shit up. So
Yes. Oh, a quick side note. If you haven't watched it we weren't on during the Christmas season, so I just got to mention it. John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell did an eerily exact replication of the Bing Crosby David Bowie Christmas special. Holy crap, check it out. Back into what we were talking about.
So now that's all I'm thinking about. But yeah, there are professional anarchists that do this. I know this because I've seen the same type of thing during the Black Lives Matter protests that have been happening out here that had happened out here. And every time it would start civil, but then suddenly there would be people that are showing up that are specifically, they've got masks over their faces. You know, they're purposely hiding themselves because they don't want to be caught because they plan on coming out and doing this again. So they're not representative of everyone in the country. And the admirable thing, in my opinion, about the March on Washington, the Women's March, I'm not exactly sure what the term is, and I apologize. I'm not trying to appear like a pig-headed man.
Yeah.
But
the skirts march on the Capitol. Obama can take my guns.
By the way,
Oh, wait, he didn't.
yeah, thank you very much, Trent.
The door's open, boys. Woo! Bang, 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 bang.
You're terrifying me, son. So, the one great thing to hear about these marches, this protest, is that so many areas are reporting that there were no arrests, and it truly was a civil demonstration.
Yeah. Which is, you know what? That's, man. If you follow me on Twitter, I just retweeted something from our current president, which I wholly agree with. I honestly could not agree with more. And it's he tweeted it in 2012. He said, "We can't let this happen. We should march on Washington and stop this travesty. Our nation is totally divided." But the hell of it is, he was right then, and just as much as it's right now. I mean, we're dissenters. The United States is a bunch of dissenters of people who protested against something that they weren't okay with, right? And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what the way our republic is set up, so that we can voice when we feel like we're not being heard. And right on, man. If you feel like you're not being heard, get out there, make yourself heard. I see nothing wrong with that.
Well, bringing up the tweet from 2012 is one thing, but I have to say, too, in his defense, that this morning I did see one of the more presidential tweets that I've ever seen from Donald Trump, and that was that he said, while I may not agree with it, he respects people's rights to voice their opinions in relation to the demonstrations, and I'm paraphrasing. So
it's like I always say, people can like what they like, even when they're wrong.
Yes, they can. But I had that conversation in the car with my daughter the other day, too, about how, everything is everything to everyone. So it's either it can be good, bad, someone's opinion. You don't agree with it, but it's right or it's wrong. It's all perspective.
Totally, yeah.
But with the with this demonstration, it was great to see that happen. But then something weird happened yesterday, Trent, and this is what I find alarming. And it's mainly because, and this is what I'm attributing it to. I'm not going to attribute it to the absolute positively worst possible scenario that it is. Instead, I'm just going to attribute it to learning the job.
Yeah.
Because part of the conversation that happened on Saturday was that it appears that the president's feathers got ruffled because many news organizations were reporting on the number of people that turned out for the inauguration.
Yeah.
And first of all, they've reported on this after every inauguration. They say how many people have come out. And in this case, it is an interesting angle, I think, in order to sell newspapers and get people to read.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That there was a sizable drop in the inauguration attendees for this year compared to the two previous cycles. Two previous inaugurations. And the weird thing is, though, that instead of discussing it, well, first of all, if there's any one thing I have learned in life is if you don't want people to continue talking about something, what would you do, Trent?
Ignore it.
Ta-da!
Yeah. If I don't talk, if I don't address it, which is, I mean, again, folks, I'm trying to be as open as possible, which is why there were a lot of mentions about a lot of campaign promises in the inauguration speech, but there was no mention of the Affordable Health Care Act. Just like there is the White House website. This is the tech side. So whenever a new administration comes in, they scrub the whole thing, right? And then they lay out what the policies and the agenda that the new administration is going to have for both sides, right? You don't want to have, if I were in the Obama administration, I wouldn't want something that I had done being associated with and vice versa, right? So that's common practice. They scrub the website, and that's why currently there's nothing about the Affordable Health Care Act on it either. Like, he's a very smart man, because in doing so and talking about, and I agree with you, but I think he's a lot smarter than we give him credit, because in talking about this is what everyone's talking about. They're not talking about the things that were left out of the inauguration and of policy talks so far and stuff like that. We're focusing on the minutia, the stuff that people can relate to and is accessible, but doesn't really matter.
Yes, and we've all been duped once again, because yesterday was a monumental thing. Massive number of people in an organized civil demonstration, letting their voices be heard, making sure the politicians are aware of at least that portion of the populace's take, all that jazz. But then there's a CIA visit, and he brings up the false reporting. And then later on, Press Secretary Sean Spencer? I don't remember. He came into the briefing room and basically gave the media a dressing down and said that the administration would also hold them accountable. But then proceeded to once again bring up the topic of the attendees of the inauguration. and stated at least 5 things in 5 minutes that have been instantly been able to be disproved. Now, first of all, a genius move on the administration's part, because it has us talking about this and not the march so much. So,
it's very smart. It's well calculated.
At the same time, the part that terrifies me the most about it, Trent, is that it comes across as a little thing known as propaganda.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that terrifies me because the biggest fear that I think everyone has is that the government's lying to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And in this case, coming out and doing this, it was a little terrifying. And then this whole discussion is now continuing because of the things said on the Sunday morning press shows, like Meet the Press and all these other political commentary shows. And less people are talking about the march. So it's one of those things where, okay, we're once again falling for it. And I'm it's interesting as well that during the press secretary's press conference yesterday, lack of a better term, he CNN, which I was watching at the time, I was streaming it while the family was watching something else. I had it running, and I'm like, well, wait a second. If he's coming out, why are they commenting on it, but I'm not seeing it? CNN actually waited to see what he said, and then would report on what they heard.
Yeah. So I mean, we're all getting better, folks. See how this works?
Yeah. See, so there's a shining light. Although, of course, it doesn't matter because to Trump followers, CNN is fake news. So, which
Wrong.
is wrong. Yeah. So anyway,
I want that so bad. I need to soundbite that and so I can just play it when my boss is talking to me. But wrong.
Just press the button.
Wrong.
I don't think that'll help your career any.
I need a soundboard for life.
But it's one of those things where I just don't know what to think about what's going on. But at the same time, I also realize my limitations. I'm really not somebody that probably should be commenting on this stuff. Other than that's.
Well, I mean, no, I think it's just fine to comment on it from our perspective, right? As long as people understand, like, look, this is my perspective, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, don't get offended or do. It doesn't matter. But this is just how we're seeing things, not necessarily, how things are. Because no one knows how things are.
Mark J. Benegas on Twitter says, a tech news podcast recommending we don't watch the news.
Well, and my favorite coming from Twitter today is actually from our good friend, That Fracking Cat. NetHeads, take 3. NetHeads, take 4.
Sometimes you can't win. So
not a smeltdown, though, folks. Not a smeltdown.
No, not completely anyway. So, let's just say it's interesting times. But I think this is very good because, I think everybody now is aware of where everything really stands. Because, it's even though the president was elected and the president does have his supporters, the other important thing to remember is that there are still other branches of the government as well. And even though they're Republican controlled, that doesn't necessarily mean like full cooperation and adoption of whatever the president says. So, because if we know any one true thing, it's that the one item that is most important to a politician is being able to stay in office.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. If Orrin Hatch, 40-year senator of Utah, has taught me anything, very important.
Yes, it's very important to them to stay in office. And now they've seen a large number of the population coming out and speaking in a manner that has kind of set a record. And maybe I think that's part of the reason why it may have been so upsetting to the president as well, because, the numbers of people demonstrating in Washington, D.C. alone, according to D.C. Metro, for people using the system and everything else, it kind of estimates that there were probably more people there to demonstrate than there were for the inauguration. But in all fairness as well, we have to remember that is a Friday, and the number of jobs in the U.S. that are occupied are higher now. So it was rainy.
It's the lowest unemployment rate that a president has inherited in like 50 years.
Well, and that's great news for the country. And that's the thing
for
too.
Sure, dude, for sure.
Regardless of all the rhetoric that we throw out there, The important thing to remember is that I don't think anyone should want the president to fail, because if he fails, we all fail.
We all fail. I totally agree with you, man. Yep, absolutely.
And I don't want that.
And again, that's one of those things. Like, I think right now our president is doing what he's good at, and that's spin. And look what this hand's doing. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to do this job, because did anyone really think I was going to be here? I sure didn't.
I honestly believe you. I honestly feel like originally when he was running in the primaries, he figured it was a great way to, again, get the brand out there. But then again, that may not be the case, too. It may be that he firmly has his beliefs in what the country should do and should be, and he really feels that he really felt that he would be able to benefit it. And there have been a lot of things that we've seen that potentially could be attributed to his mere election that seem to have benefited the economy. And I don't think anybody's going to argue that we want more jobs in America, especially for the middle class and for trade workers and everything else.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those really interesting things. And I hope that is just, I try to look at kind of the tech side of things and kind of the down the road kind of things, like. And this is the problem that we run into with the political climate. We all want gratification now, and so yeah, we do these deals to keep jobs here in America. But technology is advancing so fast; these jobs just aren't going to be existing much longer. You know what I mean? And so that's the other part that is going to bite us in the ass in 10 years. Not in his tenure or Obama's tenure or anything like that. And that's kind of where we need to start focusing, is like, okay, these jobs not only are leaving, they don't exist.
Yeah, folks, they have a machine now that looks like a backhoe, but it's got a gigantic arm on it, and a guy can run up. He can both cut down a tree, debranch it, and turn it into logs. Just by that. So now you've taken probably the work of 10 people and reduced it to one person.
10 dudes, yep.
And pretty soon it'll be powered by Alexa. It'll be vocal command, and artificial intelligence will just cut down that tree itself.
Yep.
And then we will worship our robot overlords.
Yeah. I, for one, welcome our ant overlords. And I'd like to remind them.
Trent, I don't know if we addressed what you were trying to address, but I think it's time to shift off of politics. Because
dude.
I rode like a roller coaster yesterday with it. Because like I said, that press conference really disturbed me, because the one thing I'm concerned most about is propaganda, which, I think that, and that's one of the things. It's the president up until this point has done a very good job through his entire professional career of gaming the media. He knows how to use them. He knows how to manipulate them. I mean, this is the first president we've ever had that's also in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. So, you can.
Well, I mean, the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, mind you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to insult. I hope I didn't upset anyone.
I mean, we're not putting him in the likes of a Chris Benoit. Oh wait, no, never mind. He didn't make it because he murdered his family.
Ouch, dude. Wow.
In other news, the passing of Jimmy Superfly Snuka took place this week. He also murdered a woman.
Yes, as you.
That's not funny. That part's not funny.
As you wonderfully pointed out, the last time I mentioned the only wrestler name that I know that's old school was Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Yeah. That was the first wrestling name I ever heard in life. So, but yeah, he did pass as well. Nah, whatever. Okay, so, I don't even know where to go from here. I don't want propaganda in my life. I don't want lies. Like, so much. I got to the point where I actually took photos from the Washington Post and created a diffuse to go from 2009 to 2017 after that press conference. I was so enraged. But in the end, I realized to myself, what have I done? What have I accomplished? Why did I bother? Not to mention, and this is kind of a statement, I think, as well, and you can call me... You can call me whatever you want. I really don't care. But
I'll call you Will Wilkins.
I appreciate that, sir. I really do.
Can I still be Trent?
I think so. Until we find somebody else that wants to be Trent.
Oh, I hope not.
I don't
I
know.
hope there's no other one that wants to be Trent. It's sad, folks. I'm in a basement right now. I got a fan on the wall because the wall's leaking. I mean, you don't want to be me.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Anyway, where the fuck was I going before you derailed me once again?
I'm sorry. I'm the worst.
You can say what you want about me, whatever, but personally, I think it's a commentary on the administration because there are so many different sides we have heard from so many different things. Honest to God, I'm afraid to say anything one way or the other that's not a good, solid bipartisan comment because I honestly am terrified of potential retribution. Either not necessarily either from the government, but also there are people that are passionately supportive of the president, and they go after people that speak out against him.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've got a family.
I
have a life and a job I've got to worry about. And that's, but at the same time, that's the exact same kind of thing that they tell us we need to stand up against.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22, really.
Well, and that's where something like an organized peaceful protest like we've seen is so effective, right? Because there is power in numbers, there is more safety in it as well, and you're not leaving a digital footprint.
Miranda Janelle saying there is no shame in failure if you learn from it. If we fail, we all rebuild, and then somebody's calling, so I don't know what the rest says. Hold on. We rebuild and be stronger for it. You are live with the NetHeads. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
It's Ryan, and I'm calling from walking my way out of work.
Ha sucker!
Those of you not knowing, it's Ryan Connolly on the phone, and unfortunately, I think the political discussion is going to continue. Ryan, what's on your mind, sir?
I don't know there was a political discussion going on.
Good, ignore
I just
that.
punched out of my job and walking outside.
Oh, dude, nice. Yeah.
Congratulations, sir.
What's the weather like? Is it snowing?
No, it's not snowing, but it's bitterly cold.
Ugh, hate the cold. Hate it.
Give me a split second to get into my car, guys.
Well,
wait a second, dude. We're doing a show. Hold on.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now, if I hit the wrong button and try and pause something, this thing's done.
The whole show is just gonna end, dude. For the fifth time.
I'm right here. I'm right at my car.
You're not. Yeah, I mean, this has been. It's been a rough start.
Well, it's look who's running the show. Well, plus I think
you're letting Trump run things.
No.
God, no. Would we be on right now? No, of course not. No.
There'd be a fan on the equipment because the computers would be leaking. It'd be a mess.
Yeah. Everything would be sticky and sweaty.
By the way, Trent, I got to tell you, before I stopped approving friends on my personal Facebook, Ryan Connolly is one of the people that's there. And I have to say, we had a very, very good, very solid, bipartisan instant message conversation yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I'll tell you, he really kind of just helped me in a time where I needed, I don't want to say I needed someone to talk to. I've got my wife, but just kind of like hearing from the other side of the fence, if you will.
Which is kind of a cool aspect too. For even when this show, right? Because you and I live in such different areas, socioeconomic, political, everything geographically in the United States, it's just interesting to see what the perspective is in a different place.
I understand completely what you're saying because you live in a place where you have to go to a specific store just to buy alcohol, and I live in a state where apparently people can just call up and have weed delivered.
Yeah, one store about the size of your smallest post office, smaller than that actually, for 100,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Which reminds me, last week or the week before, you guys were talking about drive-through liquor stores.
Oh, I love
Back
Wyoming.
home in Rome, New York, there was one.
Yeah, growing up in Wyoming, it was fantastic. And talking to my roommate Will Kent, apparently there in Florida, or not, excuse me, in Louisiana. He used to live in Louisiana for a while. You can and please, if anyone's listening from Louisiana, I know Carrie is in a listener of ours is in Louisiana. Let me know if this is true or not. You can order like a daiquiri, a pre-made daiquiri, and it's considered a closed container as long as they leave the the paper on the straw when they hand it to you through the window. I mean, you live in Louisiana, but there's some perks, it sounds like.
That sounded like a kind of a mixed message purchase there.
Florida, I would expect something like this, but Louisiana, come on.
Well, I'm not surprised because in New Orleans, you can, especially like on Bourbon Street, you can order a hurricane and then just be walking down the street with your big old adult Slurpee.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're Las Vegas, same way. There's no open container law, which is just great. I mean, if whatever preferences, it's all about preferences.
If you want to walk around drinking, that's all we're saying.
Yeah. if you want to be a raging maniac that you don't want children to talk to.
Yeah. So anything else on your mind, Ryan? You really haven't said much yet.
Yeah, because we haven't let him talk.
You haven't given. He really hasn't shut up yet.
Quite.
Yeah, me and.
I'm kidding.
God forbid.
Talk to me, Ryan.
Ryan.
Yes,
Ryan,
sir.
I love you.
Go ahead. You can talk, man. What's up?
I love you, Ryan.
So, yes, I love you too, Trent. Yeah, it's all about love around here, which is what Will was getting to. I fall somewhere in the middle, right at sex, left at money, something like that is how you get to libertarianism. And it's just like, I understand people having the right to protest, and I support that. I'm a big proponent of free speech. I think as long as those idiots with the Westboro Baptist Church stay on their side of the road, they have the right to raise their stupid little signs.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I also have the right to raise mine on the other side.
I think you have, even in just describing them, but go ahead. People just need to respect that other people are going to have a difference of opinion, and then we need to come together in the system and work it out, because we got to hope the guy does a good job for everybody. He can't do a good job for just part of the country, but we have to hope he does a good job for everybody, because a rising tide raises all ships.
Totally.
You can't wish for him to do bad, because if you wish for him to do badly, we all do badly.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Completely agreed.
And Ryan, when you get home, I tweeted it out a second ago. Again, this is just an interesting, a couple of different things. One, I tweeted out a video from Business Insider, who does, I think, a pretty good job of trying to mediate, everything. But it's an animation showing some intense data of relationships between parties over the last 60 years, and then how it's changed so drastically. It's awesome just from like a video production aspect, so watch it for that. But then also just of what you're saying is like, man, this if people are upset, it's because we've created our own monster here.
Yeah, it truly is.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen something similar to what you've seen. And it's just like over the past 50 or 60 years, we kind of went from being like two diametrically opposed voting parties to kind of an integrated, well, we're working together, back to just way the hell separated on everything.
Yeah, exactly. And again, sadly, a lot of it happens because we've tied our and this is where Ryan, I do respect the liberty movement so much. We've tied our social issues to fiscal issues where they shouldn't be, and that's kind of made this crazy divide that's not necessary and not really seen anywhere else. But I mean, it's seen elsewhere in the world, but nothing like ours.
Agreed.
Very true. Well, Ryan, thanks for your call, sir. Have a safe drive home.
I really miss listening to you guys live, but I do catch up on the podcast. You know that.
Well, at least you got a little taste of it right here.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, sir.
And it's okay if if you stroke while you're listening to yourself talk, because that's how I got into podcasting.
Interesting.
Wait, what?
Well,
I'm sorry. Never mind. I love you, Ryan. Goodbye.
Bye.
Your language is offensive.
I've been saving that one.
That was awesome. Good job. Good job, WW.
You're welcome. So just know that one's hanging in the wings, my friend.
Woo!
Your language is offensive.
Anyway. Trent, speaking of things that are fun to hear, Friday, unfortunately, I was ill, much against my deepest desires. And I'm not talking about the inauguration. I was physically ill, and I'm still not talking about the inauguration. And as I was laying in bed, I got one of those alerts on Facebook because, as we've said, maybe we need to go Facebook Live because shit, everybody is now. But Nerdist News was doing like their talk back afterwards. It's just a little friendly event, and kind of like I don't even know what they were accomplishing at the moment. I tuned in when I did, but they were starting to do like a form of Pictionary about the stories that they discussed on Nerdist News that week. And one of them, there was a picture that was drawn, and it was like, well, what is it? I could do a screen grab, but I'm not going to bother. But if you do find this Facebook or the Facebook Live, or I think it's also on YouTube, the live video from Nerdist News Talkback, What the Friday edition, somewhere around the 8-minute and 28-second mark, a familiar name apparently chimed in with the correct answer. Let me just cut over to you so we can get your reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Will Wilkins. Yeah.
I know that gentleman.
The worship me senpai guy doesn't understand that Facebook goes descending. Not that I'm trying to, do revisionist history, but that was kind of a shocking moment. I never knew that anyone on Earnest News would say my name, let alone yell it out loud.
Yeah. Will Wilkins!
Yeah, but that's the nice thing about having this name that I've chosen too. It just kind of flows, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Well,
do.
pardon me, I didn't choose it. It was given to me, but I abbreviated
you choose
it.
to honor.
Yeah,
You choose to honor.
I do. I am honored to be your podcast partner, my friend.
It's a very onerous job.
It is. It really is. So that happened. That was cool. Also, Trent. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I wanted to jump into set heads a little bit and talk TV if we can.
We can for just one moment. But I tell you though.
Yeah.
Before we do that.
Yes.
I have to say, if you're into TV.
Which guess what, Will?
You are?
I am.
If you're into entertainment.
Oh, Will. I love the entertainments.
Trent, are you in to finer geekery?
I am in like Flynn, which is a reference that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, baby. Reason why I bring it up? That's too loud. Get away.
Stop it.
We'll go back to Enter the Party. It's a little more subtle. Trent, my favorite thing in the world to be able to talk about now is the fact that if you want to give a gift to a friend, if you want to give something cool to a friend, like if you're watching the YouTube video right now and you look over what's my right shoulder, your left, you'll see there's a little Predator action fig back there. That came from ThinkGeek.
Dude, I love the Predator so much.
Over to my left, your right, you got Q-Figs from Doctor Strange, Deadpool, Harley Quinn.
Oh, with and someone corrected us
the
on Twitter.
hyenas.
Thank you. I forget who it was. It's a hyena, not a dog.
Yeah, sorry. It's these nerds are bullshit. I'm following Game Over Greggy. Game Over Gregory. And Trent, there are cool things that come in this. Now, what we're talking about is Loot Crate, okay? Go to lootcrate.com/netheads. Get $3 off any regular subscription.
Oh, nice.
Right now, that's our gift to you. $3 off. And you'll enjoy finer geekery. You'll get so much cool shit, Trent.
Yeah.
You won't have time to open it. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
What do you got?
Look at this. This is a Batman metal Batwing keychain. I got this from Loot Crate. How badass is this? It's a Batwing.
Dude, it's like a Batarang.
Yeah, and it's the Batwing. It's the Batwing.
Let's say you're walking out to your car at night and some like henchman from I don't know who, maybe like the someone, Joker's gang or whatever comes up on you. You use that, you chuck it at him with your keys, extra weight. Crack! You're your own Batman.
There you go. You could be your own Batman. So I got that. I unopened. Look at that. Look at this. This is cool. It's a Hellboy ceramic hand of doom.
Yes.
It's a piggy bank. I can save money inside my finer geekery.
And you can stick that somewhere else too, if you wanted to.
Now, here's something exciting. We can do this right here, Trent. This also was one of my unopened. I don't even know what this is. Okay,
Yeah.
It's a blind bag type item from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I haven't even opened it. I'm going to open it right here with you right now. We're going to see what's inside.
GNG, a real intergalactic hero.
Okay, this is actually kind of cool. If you look at the plaque there, it's the USS Enterprise commemorative plaque that goes inside this ship.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
That'd look good. Really, that would look good right here, back on the wall. And that's the cool thing about this. And if you're not into entertainment, but you're into video games, look, they've even got like Mega Man blind bags for these little bobble things. They got
nice.
always guaranteed to get a T-shirt, an exclusive pen. The best thing about Loot Crate is it's the biggest surprise. You always know it's coming. It's the finer geekery you can get. If you're into clothing more, you can get Loot Wear. If you want to get fine geekery stuff for your pets, they got Loot Pets. They got all kinds of things.
What? Loot Pets?
Loot Pets, Trent.
I'm so up in this.
Yeah, as long as I can see my miniature pincher run around in a gold Enterprise T-shirt, I'm happy.
Yes.
So all you got to do is go to lootcrate.com/netheads. Get $3 off any regular subscription. Do it now. You want to. They've got everything you want. I guarantee you. And if it's not for you, there's somebody in your life that wants it. Lootcrate.com/netheads. Do it now. So anyway, Trent.
Yeah, so Flynn, in like Flynn, the big actor of the 60s, swashbuckling, he played the good-looking dude that they tried to bill from Ireland, even though he's from Australia. In like Flynn is a reference to his statutory rape cases, which he had a few.
What does this have to do with set heads and talking about TV?
Oh, TV, Will. Dude, are you caught up on The Good Place? Right? Did not see that coming. So mad at myself that I didn't see it coming. What the actual F word, folks? Dude.
I have
I know.
seen it. I was absolutely positively blown away. And I was, here's what happened. I had some podcasts to throw together to publish out. So, and I had heard that via Twitter, Kristen Stewart?
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Stewart's got a thing for vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, I'm so confused easily in life. So Kristen Bell went on Twitter and basically said, if you're on the West Coast and a fan of The Good Place, stay off Twitter. And it's for good reason. Trent, you live in a spoiler-free world, but I'm almost terrified to say anything.
Yeah,
what about you?
Nope. I'm not going to say anything. If you're a fan and you haven't watched it yet, just do it. Make time today to do it.
Exactly. Now, the beautiful thing about The Good Place is that it was this unique and wonderful show where we find people in the good place after death, and they steer clear of anything other than the concept of just good and bad. There's a good place and a bad place.
There's no religion involved.
And it's Kristen Bell's character is apparently a bad person that has somehow wound up in the good place. And so it's everything that comes from that. Every single episode ended it on an interesting note. Now, the only unfortunate thing about this show is that it only had a 13-episode pickup order because this past Thursday, basically they did what they did at the start as well. They did a back-to-back airing of episodes 12 and 13.
Which is scary because when stuff like that happens, you know what it usually means, Will?
Episode burn-off.
Yeah, it means, well, this is it, folks. Sorry. I really hope that you enjoyed Constantine.
Because it's gone. But the important thing to remember is that they didn't burn it off on a Saturday night over the weekends and the holiday during the summer.
Yes.
So I hope that there is still some hope. And I know that this show has been critically acclaimed. And there is some positive. I mean, when we were during the holidays... and even during the holidays, NBC was even promoting the return of The Good Place. So there was some weight behind it. But folks, this season finale, I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing this in reference to TV shows, but it truly was a game changer.
It was dead serious, dude. Because and as the episode was progressing, I was like, the writers have totally screwed themselves. There is no way. They've written that they have lost themselves in this. They have written themselves into a corner, and we need a smoke monster to get people to turn back in.
And it literally reframes everything.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I'm excited to go back.
Yes, exactly.
And rewatch it from the beginning now.
Yep.
And folks, it really is solid entertainment. And for those of you that you're like, well, I'm not into Kristen Bell. Fuck. I'm not into. I don't know who these other actors are. Which, by the way, the supporting cast on this show is insane. The guy that plays Jean Yu, the guy that plays Chidi, the girl that plays I can't remember her name, but the rich dilettante. All of them, great, amazing characters.
Yeah, and come on, Ted Danson.
That's where I'm going.
His most charming ever, folks. I know that's hard to believe because he's so damn charming as is.
And it really does reframe his entire performance as well, which, by the way, was great all through the series. It really was. This is Ted Danson. Like you want to hang out with this guy because he's just so delightfully happy and supportive and excited, and then this ending happens and boom. And the funniest thing though was there was an interview on Conan that he did, and they're like, people are saying, is this like an amazing performance? He's like, no, honestly, the past few decades, it's just all Sam Malone.
Oh gosh, and it's man, and I tell you what really made me fall back in love. Well, originally no, because I watched Cheers with my dad, but I was too young to appreciate it. Was Bored to Death, where I'm like, oh my god, this guy just oozes charisma. I like him a lot, which then led me to go back and watch all of Cheers, and it was just like, this guy is the best.
He really is. He's a great actor, and he's really fun. He's really entertaining, and man, his performance in this show just wow.
It's great.
And the whole concept behind it. The only thing is that I'm going to take some, I don't want to say creative license, but I'm really hoping that this really was the direction it was going the whole time, and I think it was.
Oh, I agree with you too. And I was thinking about that. From the beginning, the universe in which this exists is so well developed that I wouldn't have thought it to be shopped out to anyone without at least an end game somewhere along the lines.
Well, yeah, because it is one of those shows where I often have this when we start with a show. It's like, that's an amazing premise, but how are you going to carry it along?
Exactly. The exact opposite being the Fallen Skies, right?
Yes, exactly. It's an amazing concept, but y'all are just making this up as you go, ain't you?
Yep.
Which I think since Lost, everyone got really touchy about. Although I will still say, and I am still in the minority here, that the Lost finale really was great. And I'll tell you, it's one of those things I like to rewatch when I want to cry more, I guess.
Well, and it's the Lost finale is still the only episode of Lost I've ever watched.
There you go. So it's what we call good time management, Trent.
Oh, I know. Oh, you know what? Also, what's his name? Ted Danson. Just showed up in my Instagram feed. A friend of mine is in Park City for the weekend because it is Sundance weekend, and she got a spy shot of the man himself.
Oh, a spy shot. It wasn't a picture with him. It's just like
no. Which I think, I think a spy shot's maybe a little better. You know what I mean? Because it's more fun and it's less intrusive for sure. Because guess what, folks? It always hurts to ask.
Yeah, it really does. You don't want to be that person. You really don't.
No,
I mean, I have been a fan of Kevin Smith since Clerks. I've had a professional relationship with him for since 2011, and to
5
date,
years, dude.
To date, I have still not asked to take a picture with him.
Don't
be that guy. Don't be that guy, Trent.
It always hurts to ask.
Speaking of Kevin, he also is at Sundance hosting. If you haven't seen him now, if you go to IMDb, they've got Sundance coverage. He's hosting the Sundance studio and doing interviews with people there, and those are always fun.
The vignettes, and he's done some fun vignettes about his work too that have been really good.
Yeah, definitely. So be sure to check those out. They're good times and they're fun. If nothing else, it's nice to see him. And also tomorrow, Trent, tomorrow on the CW is the premiere of Kevin Smith's directed episode of Supergirl.
Oh my gosh, dude! So I did just a little write up about the episode, that at least as much as I know, for Smodco News, and it has me so damn excited. Like I was excited to see it but then after like going into it and then reading about how this is the end cap of all the stuff that's happened from the 3 series tie-in, like this is comic bookdom at its finest, man.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the yeah, man, this is a big week because we got the Flash coming back. I finally have TV to watch again, you know?
Yeah, I know. Dude, seriously, like the holiday break is a rough one.
It really, well, you know, if you want to sit around and watch TV, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're catching up on stuff, you know, then that's cool too. Additionally, gotta throw this out before we get done with our set heads talk. The new season of Voltron is out with Jeremy Shada and Tyler Labine, two of my favorite people in the whole world that I've never, you know, had relations with. That sounded weird. I apologize. I love the first Voltron. Oh shit. I'm even wearing my Voltron shirt today.
You slept in that.
Yeah, so I wore it so I wore it yesterday too.
Dude, I'm doing this show in my pajamas. Who cares?
Anyway, on whole season's available on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet, but I can fully recommend the first season. It is awesome.
Oh, cool. Now, and is that on Netflix or Amazon?
Netflix, yeah. It's a Netflix original, which, oh man, the genius behind this they had. So it's DreamWorks was who produced it, and they brought in the creators from Avatar: The Last Airbender to make it, which is one of my favorite animated series of all time.
Very popular, very highly followed here in the States. By the way, too, speaking of which, I don't know if you've seen it yet on Netflix as well. I'm not sure if I've made much mention of it here, but one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, whether you're an adult and want to just fill yourself with some brief entertainment, or you have a child you want to watch something with, the Netflix DreamWorks original Troll Hunters, which was produced by Guillermo del Toro, and features, not regrettably, a great performance, but one of his last. Anton Yelchin is the voice of the lead character.
Oh, yeah, that is sad.
And Guillermo del Toro has even said that for the prospect of a season 2, he's not sure what to do because it took them a while to find the character's voice.
Oh,
so,
and that voice is so memorable too. Man, that's another sad one from 2016.
Yeah, it's just a big bucket of suck.
Such a young dude too.
Yeah, he really was. It's really a big bummer. But the cartoon itself is thoroughly enjoyable, and it just does care. It really feels like it was because there are enough episodes. It feels like it was kind of 2 seasons put out at once, really, because they have a first arc and then a second arc, and then it ends on a cliffhanger that makes you like, please let there be more.
Well, and yeah, speaking of Guillermo del Toro, we are that much closer 2 days away from the release of Justice League Dark, the animated movie. So this was originally what do you call it? Optioned to be a movie that Guillermo was going to direct, and then they kind of backed off and said, you know, maybe this would fit better as an animated feature. The DC animated features are so damn good, and this one is going to be just as good. It's got like some of my favorite characters, obviously the Batman. You've got Zatanna, Constantine, Swamp Thing. Dude, it's going to be really good, and that's 2 days away from the digital release.
Oh man, I'm excited to see that. By the way, speaking of digital release, wait a minute, hold on, let me rephrase that. But I just got to commend you once again for once again being algorithmically more attractive than I am. Because last week, once again, you were chosen as the thumbnail automatically by YouTube. I'm really dying to find out if it's. I don't know. I don't know if it's an algorithm or if it just grabs from certain points. Because I know that I will, at this point, now that I'm in control of the video switching, I will more often than not have me on if I absolutely can.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. Last but not least, Trent, the last thing we want to address. First of all, I do want to thank a few people. One, Doug Hoxter Jr. for making our beautiful both animated title screen here, the live
Fresh,
as well as our wonderful lower third that's now also animated, because that's what the show is all about, apparently. But also, I want to thank my mother-in-law for making the prototype of the NetHeads coffee mug.
Yes.
We're going to get it worked out. We just got to get the color corrected on it, and then we will have these available. So if you want to, and it's not going to be a kind of like a for-profit thing. It's just I love the thought of people walking around with my mug on a mug and your mug on a mug. So.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, see what I...
That's, you know what? That's very postmodern, Will.
Thank you very much. But the postmodern is now postmodern.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's nothing original anymore. It's over, man.
Definitely not.
Game over, man.
I mean, they're even talking about remaking like Valley Girl. What the anyway? But last but not least, Trent, we got one last thing to talk about.
Yeah. Is it butt stuff?
Hold on.
Your language is offensive.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I accept that.
That's a little too low. Hold on.
Your language is offensive.
There we go.
Yeah. I accept that.
I have an admission to make, Trent. I have a new cell phone.
Oh, nice. A weird time to get one. The S8's not coming out for a little bit longer still.
Yeah, I know that is kind of weird, and you know, you may notice there's a certain logo on here if you look closely. We made mention for it before. I told you I was thinking about going back to the iPhone because, and I'll tell you why too. It is the most convenient thing for me to do right now because professionally and non-professionally speaking, I'm now linked into a greater network for people to get in touch with me. You know, I'm a person that unfortunately does need to get messages on the fly sometimes. And now it's a lot easier. People don't have to message me here or text me there. It's all in one place. The people that need to get me can do so, by texting me from their computer or from their phone, et cetera, et cetera. But I will tell you some of the things that I'm kind of surprised about because previously I was on the Nexus 6P, which was last year's top of the line Google phone.
Yes.
Made by Google, I guess I should say that. Not comparing it to Samsung, who I think people, until the phones were exploding, would have said that, you know, they probably make the best ones.
Yeah.
But I will say this, comparatively speaking, between the two, the Nexus 6P and this is the iPhone 7S. No, not 7S, just 7 Plus. You know, these designations are... I got the big 7, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how much faster things work. I guess is the best way to put it. Connect my smartwatch connecting to the phone happens much faster. When I would use, I loved using Android Play. I used it during the holidays. They even made it cute. The little Android guy in the pane would change into a gingerbread man, or he would wear a Santa suit, or he'd have a snowflake. I mean, it's very cute. But you know, like if I would go to, God, this sounds so douchebaggy, but if I would use it at Pete's or Trader Joe's,
Oh yeah.
By that right there, I've already lost all credibility. But, you know, if I were doing that, it would be like constantly waving it around, trying to find the sweet spot, and then wait a few moments, and it would engage. I've used the iPhone, and I barely even get near the reader, and cha-ching, paid.
Yeah. See, and that's interesting. You are the only person I know that uses it. Android or Apple. And in my opinion, it's because people still have to carry their ID in a wallet. So it's just as fast almost to just pull out your wallet, especially if you're buying liquor.
Look, I understand completely from that perspective. Part of the reason why I use the digital pays, however, is because it's a very convenient way to actually make yourself a little more secure in your day-to-day transactions. What's going on behind the scenes is that you enter your credit card, and Apple Pay or Android Pay will talk to your acquirer, the person that would process the charges for that, or to your bank. And they pass on the validity of the credit card, and after that, they create what's called a token, Trent. So every transaction you do from that point is now it's a token that represents your credit card number as it resides at the acquiring bank, the people that do the charges. So then what happens
Super
is
secure then. Yeah.
Exactly. Every unless your acquirer, the person or the tokenizer, the person that holds the token, that one-to-one value to know this token means this credit card. At that point, every transaction you're doing using that is actually your credit card number is not going out there. It's not. It's a value that cannot be reverse engineered in order to restructure your credit card number.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's a more secure way to do it. It's also in some respects faster, especially since I've always got my phone out. When I had the Nexus 6P, the case I had those Velcro loops on it. With the iPhone, I got a very inexpensive clear case so I could see the back. But what I also did is I added this is another one of those type of inventions. This one's called Love Handles.
Okay.
But the great thing is, like, let's say I can be standing in line doing this, and I can pay, and if I need to like pick things up, now I can just spin it around. Now my hand's free, but I'm still holding the
that is
phone.
nice. Yeah.
It really is convenient if you want to keep your hands free. So I just have to say that now that I'm back in the iPhone world, the two things I found most interesting is that they offer an app that lets you just install the app on your Android and then run it on your iPhone as well. And it becomes its own wireless broadcast point and transfers all the data over that it can. So like text messages and everything went from my Android now on to the Apple phone. And so that was cool. And the other thing that's funny is that, I'm going back to using the exact same Apple account that I had before, and suddenly, mystically and magically, it also moved the apps, any comparative apps that existed in one.
Nice.
But last but not least, everything is still back there. So, I'm like, crap, I got to add all my podcasts, and nope, they're there still from the last time I used iTunes, which was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Just along that note. On my mobile, I have switched over completely to Google Play for my podcasts. It is amazing. It is so well done. The quality is so good. If you're an Android user, this is by far the most. So like myself, I need to get all my other stuff uploaded to Google Play. But man, I have just been blown away at how good the UI and the quality of this. That was my biggest problem with Stitcher, is it dumbs the audio down to save on bandwidth. But man, I've been super impressed. If you're looking for an alternative to iTunes, the worst program ever made.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I never, I wouldn't agree because I didn't actually get to use Google Play. I was already entrenched with Podcast Addict at that point.
Right.
But I did utilize it because I had to verify all the Smodco podcasts that are working on it.
Right.
Which they are. They're available through Google Play, and we are probably 1 to 2 weeks away from being available on Spotify. I said it. Fine. It's out there. All of the Smodco podcasts within the next 2 weeks will be available via Spotify.
That dude, because at work, that's what I use, man. I got the Spotify going nonstop, so I'm listening to my pods. It's happening.
Yeah, and you're just going to be able to then just go to Spotify and do Smodcast, and then you're just on your own little Smodcast station at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be exciting. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see because it's important to diversify and get your signal out there. You can't stop the signal, Trent.
Totes.
Magoats. Well, Trent, anything else you want to talk about? Because I'm freaking exhausted and it's already 1 o'clock.
Yeah. All I'd say is be kind to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And butt stuff.
Hold on.
Your language is offensive.
I really gotta get faster on that. I'll get used to it. Hopefully we'll get all this stuff together. This week we had trouble getting the show started. Last week we had a problem stopping it. So next week we're gonna have a problem maintaining it in between. But at least you weren't like a what's that called? You weren't a strobe light effect this week. You weren't like you weren't an animated GIF for most of the show.
Yeah. Well, that, and I also went in and adjusted the settings so that it wasn't trying to change the autofocus all the time.
Oh, do you think that might have been part of it? I don't think so. It's we're just
knows?
I honestly I think part of the reason why it's working so well is because we had issues last night, so I just completely reset the entire network from top to bottom.
Yeah. So you know what, folks? When it's not working, turn it off. Turn it back on again.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? That's the and frustratingly for my wife, that's my number one answer for everything. Earlier today, she got a message, no SIM card. I'm like, restart your phone.
And there we go.
And it worked. There we go. So until next time, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you want to write the show, we're available, netheadsonair@gmail.com. You want to interact with Trent, he's a part of him on Twitter. I am NetheadWW. The show is Netheads on Air. And you've been listening to us one place, free and funny, since 2007, even though we've only been around since 2011. Where is that, Trent?
Smodcast.com.
Damn it, I didn't switch to you correctly.
It's okay. Yeah.
Indeed. Play the fucking sound.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker.
Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads.
This
Whew, boy, that was fun to get through. You think we're going to walk away from this one okay?
Yeah, I think so. Will. It's interesting how life works, we started off the midway through the show talking about like for example, you went through and you made this big long thing comparing photos and this, that, and the other, and it reminded me, and I wish I'd have brought it up more timely. I'm working. It's taking longer than I thought, but I'm working on this piece for Smodco News about certain pieces of Kevin Smith's rhetoric or production, just certain things that he's done that have inspired people to do things. And I mentioned it earlier, but again, it just felt very telling or very relevant of the story of a gentleman who suffers from epilepsy and how he used to be so angry. And then he saw how Kevin reacted to a guy trolling his daughter, and he was just like, you know what, I'm going to use that as creative energy instead of angry energy from here on out. And you know what, maybe that's what we should do. I think I can definitely do better at that, is when I get angry, take that energy that it's created and put it into something creative, positive.
Yeah, or put it into action, because going out and doing something in itself is creating something as well. Whether you're creating better mental health for yourself, or you've created a drawing, you've doodled in the sand, you've worked in your Zen garden for 30 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah,
And honestly, when I did that thing with the images, it was probably part of a catharsis for me. It was just getting through it.
And dude, honestly, if you're lucky, you can put it in the beehole.
Wrong one. That would have been a great ending, though. But very fitting ending for this one.